back to another episode of JP and the Beanstalk.
You bet. There's a phenomenal energy in the gym because we've seen Thunderbolts. We're here to talk about it. And that's it, right? It's Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts
all freaking day long.
July.
What a great start to the summer, Beans.
It was a good start.
Holy smokes. If you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? Get to it. See it at least twice.
Yep.
Totally worth it.
You know how many times I've talked to people and they're like, oh, yeah, how was it? I was like, it was actually really good. You should go watch it. And like, yeah, good, because the last couple of ones are kind of like, I know, but this one's actually like
true. Call it the Marvel Redemption Tour of sorts.
I feel like we've said that a lot, and then they hit us with another bummer.
They pull the rug right out from under us. Well, who are they without folks like us, getting our hopes up only to be duped and crushed again?
Like just think about it. Like we had Deadpool. Yeah, and then we didn't have anything though. Captain America. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then
And
then we had Daredevil.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we did have Thunderbolts, so we were on the rise.
There we go. That's 2 in a row. That counts as a streak.
It does.
It's not a long streak.
It's not a long streak.
But it is 2 is more than 1.
This is true. This is math.
Yeah.
This is math. And poof. But it was a rough ride for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, there is no doubt. Well, it was an absolute delight. So we're pumped to be here to chat Thunderbolts and all things Thunderbolts. We'll hit, of course, the usual news and notes from the last couple of weeks. Talk a little bit about the upcoming summer slate because there are a lot of great flicks to look forward to that are on that horizon of this glorious summer of 2025. And then, of course, cap things off with another classic JP and the Beans top 5. This time, top 5 Sith of all time. So break out those red sabers. Without further ado, let's get into it with a toast. Farewell. Farewell. Sweet Taskmaster. Thou art gone. Also, spoilers. Also, you should know that by now. But Taskmaster's gone, Riles.
Yeah. Did you watch SpongeBob growing up?
I did not.
Oh.
No, there's a
beautiful episode.
I was a little bit past that one.
There's a beautiful episode where Squidward finds out that SpongeBob is being forced to leave. He has to move out. His house went kapooey. It blew up or got eaten. I believe he got eaten by worms. Okay?
That makes sense in the ocean.
And so Squidward is like, oh, I'm going to be so sad. And it goes to him going back into his house, and you start seeing confetti shoot out of the windows. And it'll go back to him dancing in his house because he's so excited. That was me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Michael Scott when Toby leaves the office.
Oh, I will be recreating that more than once in the next couple of weeks. And it's great.
In the theater was fantastic.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm glad you got to sit next to me for it.
I was there for it. I was very excited for that.
The fact that it happened 10 minutes in, it's like they knew that they messed up. They knew that this was a mistake, a wrong that they had to right.
100%.
Here's the best part. Yeah. I thought we were going to have her for longer because she looked at Yelena and she's like, I'm not here for you. I'm like, great. We're going to have to play this all the way out. And then just bang. And I'm like, yeah.
Listen, it was exactly what it needed to be. It was decisive. In the sense that there's no coming back from that. Bullet to the head. That's a pretty good way to do it. Unless you're Kingpin in the classic Marvel TV series Hawkeye, but I digress.
Happened in the comics too. In their defense, it happened in the comics too.
But it allowed the rest of the story to move on. And I don't think for anybody that watches that movie, it interfered with the telling of the rest of the story or distracted from the rest of the story. It was like, I'm not here to carry the flag of it was the best part of the story, but it fit. It did exactly what it needed to do. It wiped the slate clean of that version of Taskmaster so we can move on and get a more comic accurate version of Taskmaster at some point down the road.
If we are lucky.
If we're fortunate enough, which since they're going to keep making these movies until we're 90, they'll get there. But it also served to give a little bit of these folks are serious vibe, right? With ghosts, like they're willing to kill other people. So it's not just a It helps differentiate them from the rest of the heroes that we're used to seeing, right? Like we had seen Yelena previously kill adversaries, so that wasn't necessarily new. When during the opening sequence of the movie, she's okay killing people again. It's like, yep, she's an assassin. We know that. We hadn't yet seen Ghost kill anybody. We have seen John Walker kill someone. We hadn't seen Ghost do it, so it helped just nudge Ghost's character in a necessary, hey, I demand to be taken seriously kind of direction. Little Arrested Development nod there. So it worked, and we could move on. We didn't have to worry about navigating the trauma of Taskmaster.
And they also weren't like, they didn't bring her up after. Like, she died?
Barely. Like, Ghost brought her up, like, asked Yelena about her, and Yelena said, yep, she had a hard life, killed a lot of people, and then got killed herself.
But that was it.
And that
was perfect.
That was it.
That was the right amount.
Mm-hmm.
And then never think about it again.
No, just done. So, goodbye, Taskmaster.
Thank God.
So, moving on from that glorious
here's a question. Was I the only one cheering in the theater?
I think so. But Taskmasters has just been a multiple year long thorn in your Marvel emotional side.
Yes. I was just curious to see, like, if I was the only one making noise. I was very much in my own world at that point, so I don't know what was going around.
You were just seeing red.
It's like, so, yeah, okay. I was just curious how that went for everybody else.
Genuinely happy for you.
I'm glad I had my moment.
I would just like to give an appreciation to this movie. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. This movie should not have been this good. But my gosh, was it outstanding. And part of what I thought it did so well is it provided in a way that continued to move the story forward. So it was a solid premise and execution from start to finish, but it provided some meta commentary as far as the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe is concerned. But then it also got onto the ground level and really delved deep into the character development, into the baggage, if you want to use that word, the trauma, that's another word for it, the challenges that we all face and the weight that come with those respective challenges. I thought that was really impressive. So, for example, the character of Mel at one point, when she's talking on the phone to Bucky, is kind of recapping how, New York was attacked when I was just a kid, and things haven't been the same ever since the Avengers left. I mean, that they might as well just be breaking the fourth wall, looking at the camera and saying, we're talking about ourselves here. That's the movie makers, right? So it worked on multiple levels. It worked as that meta commentary in regards to the movies, but it also worked to help progress the story along. That's not an easy needle to thread, so to speak. So I thought that was pretty impressive. But broadly speaking, I thought it was just horrific from a story perspective, character development, the cast, every single member of the cast was just so doggone solid. So I just want to give as sincere of an appreciation as I can for that movie. But what was your takeaway, Riles?
Again, I go back to the Guardians of the Galaxy in the sense of this is not a movie that should have done well.
Mm-hmm.
When you see that cast, and again, we talked about this the last podcast, when we first got the breaking news that Thunderbolts was being made and we saw the roster, and we're like, this is very one-dimensional of a roster.
Yes.
It did not feel one-dimensional once we were in there.
Yep.
I think where this movie really thrived, and this is where I wish Captain America would have taken notes when we went and saw the fourth one. Mm-hmm. This one had a very serious tone throughout the entire movie, but everybody had a personality, and it made it so much better. That is what we lacked in Captain America 4.
Right.
So for this to be like, hey, we're still a serious in tone movie, and you're going to fall in love with each and every one of the characters that we've presented because they have their own unique personality that benefits and makes this movie shine.
Right.
And it did wonders.
Yeah.
So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm going through the characters. Here's an interesting question I should prop to you.
Yeah, hit me.
Is, with the little time that we've had Yelena and all the time that we've had Natasha, Is she not a more interesting Black Widow?
What a great question. I'm going to waffle here a little bit and say they're both fascinating. I think had we been given more time with Natasha's backstory, and here's what I mean by that. The Black Widow movie, the Taskmaster piece of it notwithstanding, okay, if you take that story and you tell it several years earlier, I mean, literally, instead of it coming out in 2020, it comes out in 2015, that does her character so much more of a service than it did when it came out. Because we all are watching that movie knowing that this character is going to die in the not too distant future. Like, we're watching a character whose end is already known. So I think...
Is that the only thing that hurt that, though?
No, I'm not saying it's the only thing that hurt. I'm not
just wanted to specify.
I'm not carrying a torch for it saying, hey, this was a phenomenal movie. I do think it was solid. The Taskmaster piece was silly. I just think it did itself zero favors by when that story was told and when it came out. It had enough good things going for it that it didn't need to be that much of a struggle. Okay. I think Natasha's character had, I think back to Age of Ultron, where she and Bruce Banner have that brief and yet sincere dalliance, let's call it, right? Little fancy word for love interest.
It's odd looking back that was a thing.
It is.
Because then it's never touched again.
No, it was odd at the time, and it stayed odd, and yet it worked. In the confines of that particular story, I loved that they had Natasha in the Civil War movie go from the side of Tony Stark over to the side of Steve Rogers. I just feel like the period between the Civil War movie ending and Infinity War starting, that's the prequel movie that I wish we had for Black Widow is, hey, give us Black Widow and Steve Rogers on the run, because their dynamic in Winter Soldier in that movie was tremendous.
It was.
So I can't go that far, and yet I think Elena is an equally, and I'm not going to argue with anybody that says, hey, she's more engaging to me. She's terrific. She's a great character. Florence Pugh plays her so very well, and with layers to that onion, right? We've seen Yelena in the Black Widow movie in particular being this almost naive of sorts. It's very similar. Here's the comparison I'll draw. Her character arc at this point has been not dissimilar to Shuri's in the Black Panther movies, where the first time we see her character, she's pretty vibrant, she's youthful. The next time we see her, at least in a movie, she's gone through some things, right? And so she now has the weight of experience that she's trying to hoist around, and it hasn't been a lot of positive experience as well. But Florence Pugh has worn those various masks exceptionally well. So I have nothing but good things to say about both of those characters. I love the question. It's a challenging question.
I would have to go back.
Yep.
Because right now I'm probably going off of bias because I've seen Yelena more in the recent times. Because right now I would definitely say I feel like I'm more interested in her character than I ever was Natasha.
Yep.
So now I was just thinking about that. I'm like,
I get that.
The second run at a Black Widow, and I'm more entertained by that one for sure.
She's uniquely entertaining. The Russian accent helps too. It's a lot of fun to listen to. It just is.
It is.
Natasha always had just your standard, okay, this is Scarlett Johansson.
Such a bummer.
Right.
Not Scarlett Johansson being a bummer, but the fact we never got the Russian accent, bummer.
Yeah. So maybe that's what tips the scales in Yelena's favor. I think they're both terrific. And that's as high of a compliment as I can pay too, because how often do you get one iteration of sorts of a character followed by the second iteration? You're going, hey, these are equally outstanding.
Well, and
if not an improvement on the prior version, right? We're struggling with that with Captain America,
right?
And so to get that with the Black Widow character, pretty damn cool.
And outside of the Black Widow movie, we never really saw Natasha take the lead in the Avengers movies or the Captain America movies.
Great point.
She's always supplementary.
Yep.
And in this, Yelena just takes over. I think we both went in, and I won't speak for you. I think we both went in thinking Bucky's the guy.
Right. Yep.
And Bucky really was not the guy.
No, he was in a secondary role.
He was he was the shepherd, if you will, making sure that the sheep go in the right direction. That was Bucky's job here.
Bucky the shepherd.
So
just give the man a shepherd's crock, and he's rolling.
Correct. He's there. He's got the hair for it. So it's just
a robe and sash.
Oh yeah, he's so close.
You, sir.
It's so close. So to see her take the lead.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a nod to all the actors and actresses in the cast here. To be like, hey, we trust you guys enough with these characters that we don't feel like we need a A-level character like Bucky being the center of attention here. And it paid off. The team. I think you come away from this movie wanting more of every character, and that's saying something.
Yeah. And I think it's so fun to recognize how Florence Pugh's portrayal of Elena allowed every other character that was around her, that was sharing the screen with her, to be better than they would have been on their own. But she has that unique ability to draw out the strongest points of each of those characters. Like John Walker is at his strong, I'm just going to phrase it this way, his strongest flavor when Yelena is in the room, right? Both good and bad. Like both for, hey, this guy is capable of doing some great things, and he's capable of being the biggest douche in a 12 block radius.
I love John Walker.
Terrific.
He was not too bad in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but my God, in this movie, he grew on me quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, he rides the line 100%. He's like right in the middle there of he could go to either side and no one would be surprised.
Didn't Wyatt Russell just wear it? Wasn't that something?
Oh, yeah.
That was really impressive.
He was fantastic.
And it's been a piece since he's had the opportunity to play this character. Like, it's been since, what was it, 2020 that Falcon Winter Soldier came out? Right? Right. It's a short amount of time to go in between, hey, jump into this role. That's really impressive.
And I don't remember him being very funny in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but in this, and it's not even like he's like trying to be funny. It's just
correct.
The things he says is so out of pocket that it's hard not to laugh.
They leaned in a really clever way into a bit of and they didn't overdo it, but they tapped into it just enough of a little bit of a dumb jock stereotype with John Walker in this movie, like where he's calling out his high school football team.
It's so funny. Because everybody knows a guy like that. And you're like,
right. You're like, okay, great. So high school is your greatest accomplishment. But
the Letterman jacket's probably pressed in the closet.
He's like trying to insist that, no, listen, I'm the best that there is. You should all follow me. And it's also not even close. Can't believe you're even thinking about it. So they leaned into it well, but they found the right balance. They didn't go too far to the point where can they just taskmaster this guy?
Right.
And kill him?
Right.
Because you can also see within his character the genuine pain that he's in, because he wants that loss that he's experienced of having been given the mantle of Captain America, having so decisively lost it. And now, having worked for Valentina, and this has all been off screen, right? The Falcon Winter Soldier, his arc ended with Valentina coming to the picture and saying, hey, why don't you come work for me? And so we haven't seen any of what that has been, which makes it all the more impressive that we haven't seen it. And yet, as soon as John Walker's on the screen, the dude is wearing every little bit of what he has done for Valentina in his face, in his body language, in his demeanor. Like, you can tell this is a guy that has been chewed up. It hasn't ended with the loss of the Captain America mantle. It has only served to cascade and snowball further and further. And that is all, like, in a lot of ways, it's very nonverbal, right? We're not getting John Walker telling us, well, I've done all these different things for Valentina. He provides us with his history, but it's the history that he wants us to pay attention to, right? It's a very edited version. It's like, hey, I've been in every war-torn country. I was Captain America. Okay, you're leaving out a solid 5 years there of information that is a tidbit critical, sir.
Well, and this is where having Yelena, having Ghost on the other side, pretty much just calling him out and be like,
every time.
You're a douche.
Every time.
Every time.
It's like, we're not impressed. We don't care.
Okay, that's a good balance.
Right.
Because it keeps him in check. Keeps the ego in check.
Yep.
So, no, John Walker grew on me tremendously in this. Mm-hmm. Ghost, I think, could have went any way, shape, or form. I don't really remember her too much from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't remember hating her. Like, she was there from what I remember. So, to just build off of that, I think you could have really went in any direction and we would have been okay.
Yeah.
Great. This was good.
Yeah, I think for all the characters that we saw in this movie, you mentioned, hey, we would have preferred to have had more time with Bucky. He's just enjoyable to be around. He was a great hang. So
all of his scenes were like terrific. Some of the best scenes.
Terrific.
By the way, he gets some of the coolest like character intros in movies. Jeez. I swear to God, when he shows up in the line when they're getting chased by the tanks, beautiful.
Right.
He knows how to make an entrance.
In the theater, just lose his mind.
Oh, that's true. Remember? That is true, yeah.
He just was...
You're like, okay.
It was
calm down. It's awesome.
With it. It was
it's awesome. Great. But tone it down a little bit.
He was there for Bucky, man.
I was there for Bucky. I get it.
Yep.
But it was fun watching him like try to take him down in the government side of things.
Yep.
The other government guys are like, you can't do it like you're used to doing it. We have to do it the right way.
Yeah, we got to go through the system.
He's like, stupid. Like you can tell he hated it. It's like, why are you doing this? So
100%. No, to bring it back to Ghost, I thought that they gave her a good build from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and yet there's still a lot of untapped character material there.
Yeah.
Like she fits the paradigm of the best Marvel characters in this current era where trauma for days. Okay. So you got all kinds of this tragic backstory to draw from. And she's got a really unique skill set that has both some limitations that are very real, right? So she's not overpowered, but she is also exceptionally powered. So it's a great dichotomy of ability and limitations that essentially just creates wonderful fight scenes, right? Because you cannot, as the audience member, anticipate, oh, she's going to phase this way or in that form. So it's a terrific, terrific character. I wish we would have had more time for her character. And I say that while also needing to recognize that the runtime of this movie as a whole felt about right.
Yep.
So
it was great.
On the one hand, I want more Bucky. I would have loved to have had more Ghost as well. But they did hit a right. They hit a right.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing that you're coming out wanting more. It's like, oh, okay, they can come back and we'll get that.
Yeah. The only thing let's circle back to Bucky. The thing that I'm choosing to be bothered by, and bothered with a lowercase b. Okay?
Is it the CGI hair at the end of the end credit scene? Because that's what bothered me.
Yeah, it was gross.
That was way too fluffy.
Okay, that was a capital B bothered.
That was bad.
The lower.
Do me a favor, fix that.
Slick it back.
Fix that.
Bucky gets the slicked hair all the time.
I get that you probably did that because you had to get it out there in a crunch. But dear God,
it was tough.
Do not let it look like that when we get to the movie.
No, do better.
Okay, sorry for my caveat.
No, that was necessary. That was a necessary.
It was so bad.
Information.
It looks like it could fly away off of his head.
It looked like he went to the Bahamas. Honestly,
it's
rough. Like he visited a hot, humid area, and
he got a blowout.
Yep, got a blowout,
and it was rough.
And he shouldn't have. He needed a man friend to tell him, this is a bad look for you.
This is too much confidence.
This is right. I'm glad you're feeling good. This is an overstep. Bring it back in. No, wonderful side note. How the heck is he a congressman?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know how he got voted. I really don't.
And I think I'm a little raw from. I mentioned this during our Daredevil recap. Like, Kingpin became mayor so fast and so easily. It's like, I could see him becoming mayor, but they microwaved that. Now, did the whole series benefit? Yes. So I'm not going to complain too much more loudly about that. I'll shut up. But how is Bucky a congressman? Like, you have to want to be a congressman. He doesn't want to be a congressman. And it feels like a just sincere waste because he can't be a congressman after this. So it just felt like a very odd choice. Like, I don't think they needed Bucky to be a congressman in order to know what he learned about Valentina in order to then insert himself tactically into the situation. So, well, there's truly my lone beef with the movie is Bucky as a congressman. It makes for good humor because he's totally a terrible fit for the role. So maybe that's just what I need to get on board with. Like, it's funny.
Okay, but to build off that though.
Yep.
Can you imagine Bucky making a speech in front of people? Because I can't. He's not a speech guy.
No, not a strength.
Steve Rogers?
Not a strength.
Absolutely. That dude could rally the troops.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky? No. I love Bucky to death.
No.
He's not that guy.
No.
He's not.
No.
He wasn't that way in Captain America First Avenger. And guess what? It has not changed till now.
He's
so
very true to
I
himself.
want to know the platform a little bit, you know?
Yep.
He did get General Ross in as president, and he had somewhat of a platform.
Yeah.
And he was continuously climbing the political ladder. But yeah, Bucky as I don't know how he got the votes.
And so I'm a little frustrated by, can you not give us some explanation as to how this happened? Like, did he ride the wave of, hey, one of the last surviving Avengers? Like, how did it happen? The fact that there has been zero explanation, that's the part that bothers me as much, if not more so, than Bucky just in that role. So there's my gripe. Enough of it.
That's your gripe with the movie.
That's my gripe. But Bucky, gosh, Sebastian Stan is so great as that character. I'm so grateful. He keeps coming back.
Oh, me too.
In the role.
It's so good.
Dude. He's so freaking cool.
He has raised the stock for that character as a whole. Because I don't think we would have expected Bucky to be at this level.
Yeah.
And I would even go one step further. I don't even consider him in the MCU the Winter Soldier anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, he's just Bucky Barnes. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. I don't think I need anything else out of Bucky. Like, Bucky's not his superhero name. I don't think he needs one. I think it's just, that's Bucky Barnes. That's freaking Bucky Barnes, dude.
He freaking Barnes.
So I'm good with that. And I think that's such a service to that character because, you know, in the comics, you have to have a code name and all that stuff. I mean, he just got a new one that's kind of a bummer.
Unless you're Bob.
Right. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Highlight of the movie, Alexei, by a mile, Red Guardian, sealing the show. Oh. Not a dull moment with that guy. I loved his relationship with his daughter. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. That was probably the most beautiful part of the moment when he's talking to her.
Yeah.
He still very much cares about her.
Yeah.
And
it's beautiful. It's
great.
It is great.
He did not have a bad moment in that movie. No. I would love a solo series of Red Guardian.
Oh, come on.
Maybe Prime Red Guardian, like a throwback, might be worthwhile. We don't need to go that far, but I would love more of him forever. And I still find it funny that, like, Russia's version of Captain America is now an Avenger working for the U.S. government. No one's talking about that part.
Phenomenal irony.
Like that, and two of them are Russian, like former Russian advocates.
Right. Hydra and then Russia. Okay, usually not the good guys there.
No.
So David Harbour just throws himself into that character. It's such a tremendous portrayal. And that scene that you referenced where Alexei is confronting isn't the best word, but it's the word I'll use, confronts Yelena and calls out the good in her is so freaking powerful. I could rewatch that multiple times. We talked about the interaction with Frank and Matt in the Daredevil, what was it, episode 2 from this most recent season, or 3, where Punisher first.
It was between 2 and 4.
Yep, somewhere in that neck of the woods. Just how tremendous that back and forth was. That scene really stuck out to me. And what I so appreciate about this story is the Marvel movies have almost always had humor, right? Like, it's rare that you see a Marvel movie, you go, that wasn't very funny. It's a core tenet of their movies. And that's fine. There's been times where the humor has been out of balance. It's been the point of the movie, and it never should be the point of the movie. Like, I think of Thor: Love and Thunder, right? Where we're just here to mess around. We're not actually here to tell a worthwhile story. I don't need to rip off that Band-Aid and, scrape off that scab entirely. But I am going to use it as an example.
Oh, I'm still bleeding, but yeah. There's no scab.
The blood is real. The blood is real.
The Band-Aid just has to stay on.
The wound is still
otherwise, I start leaking in that area.
Yeah. And listen, Lexi's character is in this movie for a lot of comedic relief, right? Like, he is there to say funny things, to be laughed with and laughed at. And yet, what doesn't get missed in his character, okay, he doesn't just become this Jar Jar Binks throwaway goofball, is his sincerity is so necessary for this movie and this story to work. Because from the first moment that Yelena encounters him in this movie to when they finally, as a group, agree, all right, we're a team, Lexi has been flying that banner of, you got to have a purpose. You got to be part of a team. We can be that team. And everybody's laughing at him throughout the movie. Or like, you're an idiot. How can you possibly say that? And there's truth in that. Like, he is a ding dong, right? Like, he is. There's plenty of things that he says and does that you're going, oh, you didn't think this through. You spoke well before you thought. Like, your thoughts are still way behind. Your words they're already out and exposed. But the sincerity of that character, he believes that there is purpose to be had, that there is good to be had in each of them, even though they are sincerely flawed. He ends up being just the soul of the movie in a very real way. And without him in that role, it's a very different movie. And so it was just an absolute treat to see him on the screen.
I could watch over and over again. You said the scene between him talking all the good things.
Yeah.
I replay the limo where Yelena is just completely embarrassed of her dad.
Yes.
Like, that was such an iconic, dad scene.
Yes.
Entirely, where he just keeps going on and on about like her old soccer team.
Yes.
The Thunderbolts keeps getting brought up, and then they're arguing about who sponsored the team. Right. He's like, "No, that did not happen.
It was not Shane."
It's just beautiful. The whole thing was great. Yeah, dude, give that man
his scene with Bucky where they're in the box truck. Like, what kind of serum did you get? It's like, we are same, different, but same. We're 2 leaders.
I would love it if, like, somewhere down the line he just gets super jacked.
Sure.
And they don't even mention it.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they're like, oh,
yep,
he's back to prime form. That would be great for him.
Mm-hmm.
So the Wheaties box tied it off real nicely.
So good.
It was good.
It's so good. I told you this after the movie. Like, I realized I have a Marvel type. And it is Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer and David Harbour as the Red Guardian. Give me the big, loud, and proud goofballs who are just a bit dense, of course, but so sincere and the absolute souls of the groups they're a part of. It was tremendous. Let's talk about Bob.
Yeah, the main baddie.
Holy Lewis Pullman as Bob.
Yeah.
Shit.
He was fantastic.
He was incredible.
Yes, Sentry is here.
Wow.
We've got him. And now it feels like he's just the ace in the hole at this point, where they're like, hey, we don't have a choice. You're going to have to get after it.
Yeah.
I need to actually do a deep dive of the Sentry's move sets because, dear God, I don't think there's a cap to this guy, which there's not supposed to be. But I was like, I didn't know he could do telekinesis and stuff.
Yep.
that's kind of crazy.
Right.
So just watching him go, I'm
vision, telekinesis, flying, invulnerability. He's got all of them.
Well, literally watching him, like, I know nothing about the Sentry.
Yeah.
I was like, I actually need to do a deeper dive on this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I knew he was Marvel's Superman. That's what the comparisons are always at. So I was not surprised to see him fly or super strength or blocking bullets, whatever that part. Okay, I get it. All right. But yeah, I didn't know about the telekinesis thing. Really threw me for a loop. But he was so good.
Yeah.
Gnarly when his neck broke. That was gnarly.
Ouch.
That looked gross.
Uh-huh.
Like, well done, CGI people.
Yeah.
Because that
looked real and bad.
That looked like it was bent multiple directions. That looked like
a finger getting broken in the wrong direction.
A Pez dispenser, if you will. Vibes.
Oof, that's too good. Yeah.
Yeah. It was So no, he nailed it. I cannot wait to see the Sentry get pulled out again. His personality changes between even before he went into full Sentry mode, and then Void.
Yep.
Like, those are 3 different characters essentially that are living in this one body.
Yep.
And the absolute arrogance of Sentry is insane, and rightfully so.
Right. Totally justifiable. Where he's going, well, why? He's talking to Valentina. It's like, why would I take any orders from you? Just like,
I'm a god.
Before that, he's like, well, why would I kill them? They're no threat to me. And you're like, oh, thank goodness he thinks that way. And then he follows it up immediately with, well, why would I listen to you? I'm a god. Oh, crap.
Yeah, and it just plays into the fact, and it's so funny because it goes back to Captain America with Steve Rogers, where you cannot pick a good soldier. You have to pick a good man.
Yeah.
And even when they were saying this, they're talking to Val. They're like, why? She's not stable. Why are you even messing with this? His mindset cannot handle this kind of power.
Yes. Yeah. I think the origin for his character was done probably as well as it could have been done. Truly. Because in the comics, my recollection, and it's been a while since I've read Sentry, but Bob Reynolds was, I don't recall a specific, hey, here's how Bob Reynolds got his powers. He just had them. So he was this hero of like a bygone era, but then he was forgotten, partially because he had that alter ego of the Void, but I think the Void had also like something to do with removing the Sentry from the history books.
And that's what I remember being like, when he comes back, like nobody remembers who he is.
It's a real mind messer. Like it really is a very abstract, effective but abstract concept, but you're always getting it's the Jekyll and Hyde on godlike steroids, where you can get the godlike super being that's on your side, but guess who's coming with it? It's the Void. You just are getting both. I thought something the story did so well, and I can't tell you the last time I've seen a movie do this, where they introduce the character. And at first you're thinking, well, this individual is worthless. There's no utility that they're adding here. They're really just baggage. And so you take worthless civilian Bob, and all of a sudden, as the movie progresses over the next about, 45 minutes or so, maybe hour of screen time, it turns into, oh no, he is the most powerful out of all of these characters that we've seen in this movie. That was a pretty outstanding progression. I thought the movie did such a good job of slowly peeling back the reveal. I don't think at any point they went, too much. Oh, we got to backtrack. I thought it was just a very deliberate and well executed.
No, they built him up. Yep. Nice, and they took their time, and it made sense. And it's like, oh, this is a slow burn. And once he gets going, look out.
Correct.
This guy is not somebody you want to mess with.
Correct. Yeah. It'll, there were a couple peak, I think, Sentry moments. We already talked through the dialogue that he had with Valentina. That was great. The moment where he ghosted the little girl that Lexi had saved. Oh, that's a shivers going down a person's spine kind of moment. You have this what you think is a highlight of, oh, look, Lexi saved the little girl by allowing concrete, a huge block of concrete to fall on him. And all of a sudden, she's gone. Yikes. Dark. And then after coming out of the void, Bob is going, wow, what happened? Anybody know what's going on? And then everybody in the group is looking and going, is he serious? Is this real? It's real? Shock of no way. All of that, he has zero recollection. That's pretty, those are some highlights for me for the character of Sentry and Void.
And it brings you back to the start too, because it's like, okay, now that he's had the amnesia again, he started off with the amnesia, so there's a good chance he's been Sentry before. So there's probably other terrible, messed up things that he's done that he has no recollection of doing.
Really good chance.
So
really good chance.
It just adds to that character as well. So I'm excited to see where they go with Sentry.
Yeah.
I hope they don't do a Hulk with him and then the Hulk just doesn't come out anymore.
Correct. You can't. Oh, jeez.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm scared of.
100%. Yeah.
They need to pull this guy out.
Yep. Yep.
And so I'm hoping Void and Sentry get separated.
Yeah. Yeah, no question. Okay, that's good. Valentina.
Great. Fantastic. Keep her around forever.
Just as I said, the movie doesn't work without Lexi being the soul of the Thunderbolts. Listen, it doesn't work if Julia Louis-Dreyfus isn't just crushing it as Valentina.
She's nailing it.
She's incredible.
Phenomenal.
Incredible. Like you asked, okay, here you go. Question for you. You asked a great question of me earlier in regards to the two Black Widows that we have now seen on screen. Better, what's the right classification here? Man behind the curtain, or person behind the curtain, since it's a woman in this case, Nick Fury or Valentina?
I'm going to say Nick.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Nick because Nick has plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to like hundreds and thousands of backup plans. Val is clearly flying by the seat of her pants, and it's working for her.
Queen.
It's working for her.
Yep.
But
a very different method.
If Nick was in her shoes, all of that stuff would have been already burnt up. Like there would have been no trace. The fact that I go back to Secret Invasion. God help us all.
We're just ripping all the Band-Aids.
He still had that vial of DNA from all of the Avengers that only Nick Fury would have gotten. That's a pure Nick Fury move. Nick would have already had the like if Sentry would have fallen into Nick Fury's lap, he would have known exactly who it was, exactly why not to mess with the guy. Nick's not touching that. So he's already smarter than Val. So I would say by a mile, better man by the curtain. It's not even close. It's Nick Fury. Now, who's more entertaining? It's 100% Val. Val's way more entertaining to watch on screen. Okay? Nick's a badass. She's hilarious. The way she's navigating.
So hilarious. I love the distinction that you draw between the planning and the improv. I thought it was so impressive how, and the reason I asked the question is Nick Fury is the same always. Okay. And that's not a critique in a negative sense. It's just I think an accurate observation. Like when you see Nick Fury, you know exactly what you're going to get. Valentina is a friggin' chameleon. Like, she obviously has the ability to be humorous. She has the ability to be nasty. But I thought one of the most just poignant scenes was when she had her moment with the Void and was flashed back to one of the worst moments of her own life. Like, that was some freaking acting in that moment. That was some thespian work right there to see all of this nonverbal, just the look on her face spoke volumes as to what it was that she was experiencing in that moment. The conflict internally that she was going through of, holy turds, do I trust this guy? And then she just like, yep, we're going to go for it. YOLO.
Like, yeah, she tasted it fully. She's like, ugh.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's absolutely do it. She was incredible. I 100% underestimated that character and Miss Dreyfus. So my deepest apologies. She
was
it.
always like, before this movie, because this is the first time we get her for a good amount of time, right?
Yep,
Because
she's been snippets here and there.
Yeah, like a little bit in Secret Invasion,
a little bit in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever,
just a wee bit, and just you don't really get to see the full. Like here, you're like, oh, she's a cockroach. She's a survivor. She's gonna do whatever it takes to stay. Not in prison. So. Yeah, no, it's a different vibe, but it's great. Yeah, in that sense.
Yeah, I was really impressed. Am I forgetting any characters? I think we've touched on everybody.
I think we nailed it.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about the ending of the movie. The fact that they have now announced that this is our new Avengers team.
Yep. I don't know what to do with that. Like, to me, I would prefer that wasn't, like, I understand in the course of the story, Valentina going, hey, presenting the new Avengers. Okay. Yeah, I get Valentina doing that. But why does that have to then become that we as the movie audience is going, yeah, new Avenger? No, it's the Thunderbolts.
I wish.
I don't get that.
That would have been the perfect time for Yelena to lean in and be like, no, we're the Thunderbolts.
Sure.
And then end movie. Mm-hmm. I think the new Avengers part is, I think it's cool in the sense of like, they're green-lighting this team of heroes to be able to carry on the Avengers name. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, this is not an Avengers team.
No.
These guys have clear holes in the roster here. Mm-hmm. We are missing quite a bit.
Yep.
Now, would I think it'd be hilarious to watch Bucky and Sam go out and try to recruit people for their teams of Avengers and watch people go pick their sides and they just hate each other a little bit? Yes. Right. That dynamic's hilarious. I cannot wait to see those two clash again, because they are going to clash. At the end of the day, they'll be on the same side of everything, but you'll get to see that.
You see that
friction.
Classic Bucky and Sam.
Correct.
Tension, friction.
And it's like, man, I wish Steve would come back because he would just fix everything.
Right.
Anyways,
right.
It feels forced.
It is forced.
The new Avengers title feels forced. It is forced. I would agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like it unnecessarily cheapens the good name of the Thunderbolts. It's like, come on. You didn't need to do that. It feels so unnecessary.
Well, it feels like you're cheapening the new Avengers as well.
Yes.
Because that original team is way more versatile and a lot cooler because it's a bunch of different characters. Anyways, I also find it super hilarious that, like, after a weekend of this movie being out, they're like, all right, let's rip off the ending.
Not even trying.
Not even caring.
Zero subtlety.
So funny.
It's such a counterproductive marketing move. Like, you've been marketing this movie as the Thunderbolts for obviously its entire lead up, and now you're going, we're going to change the... It's just awkward at best.
The only way I would actually understand them doing that is if they were not getting butts in seats.
Yeah.
But I don't think they had that problem for this movie.
No.
Like, if it was a different movie and they're like, we're struggling to get people in here, so let's just pull that cord off. And then people are like, oh, these are the new Avengers.
Only press this button in case of emergency kind of situation.
And I feel like they're just like, for shits and giggles.
Yeah, this is such a confident movie, and it should be. Like, that's a lack of confidence move right there. It's like,
you're backtracking.
Don't be so insecure. Yeah. Like, lean into who you are.
I do wish they would have stuck with the Thunderbolts name. I hope if we get another movie with this specific group, I hope it's Thunderbolts 2 and not New Avengers.
There's no doubt. There's no freaking doubt. Yeah. My hope is that the New Avengers mantra is relatively short-lived. It's like they're going to go on. And I feel like they teased that somewhat in that second end credits clip, right, where they're going, well, there's some litigation. Sam, litigious idiot. To do a bad Red Guardian impression. So I do think they're eventually going to land that plane and we're not going to have to deal with this. It just felt forced.
Well, and I also think about this, like we're going to see them in, the next two Avengers movies, which those aren't even Avengers movies anymore. These are your world building movies, right? Your big blockbuster, right? Put the Avengers on there because this is where everything happens. I think after these movies, anyways, we're seeing I would not call it a soft reboot. I think I would call it probably a medium hard reboot after these Avenger movies.
Sure.
And I think you could probably agree with me on that. So I don't know if this is even this team will even stay together.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, for what it was worth, I thought it's an outstanding movie. I don't know, and we don't know, of course. We joked a little bit about the streak. There's 2 in a row. At this point, I'm just less concerned about the
streak,
truly, about what's come before and what will come after. This movie is what every superhero movie should be, which it is so strong on its own merits that it does not need to lead into something else. It's fine when it does, right? And we've seen that work so well during the initial Marvel run, but that's what made those movies so special when they connected, is that they were individually strong. As soon as any of those movies started to concern themselves too much with setting up what came next and not telling their own story and bringing their full focus and attention to that story and just trusting that in telling a good story, you're going to create additional opportunities for great stories. That was, for me, what was so refreshing and enjoyable about this movie. And I loved, again, I'm going to come back to this, plenty of humor and yet so much soul in this movie too. That was sincere and strong messaging that I think all of us can relate to. Of, we have so many things in our own lives that haven't gone the way we wanted them to, that didn't, whether it was our own fault or circumstances beyond our control or just life happening, right? Where it's like, shoot, I'm frustrated, I'm embarrassed, maybe even ashamed of different elements of my own past or life. I thought they addressed that element of all of our realities so very well. And I'm going to read a quote from a book that has nothing to do with how the Thunderbolts was made, but it's exactly what I thought of. So this book is Million Miles in 1,000 Years by Donald Miller. But in the book, he's talking about the value of recognizing how we're all living in a story, right? We all have a good, worthwhile individual story to tell. And this, to me, just, especially in the light of watching this movie, just reeks of the Void and Sentry and that struggle. So bear with me. This won't be too long, but we'll get into it. So here we go. In living a great story, we defy a dark force propagating what I believe to be a lie, that a human life is not worth living, that the story you have living within you is not worth telling. It's a great calling to speak a better story into the world. We live in a world where 1 billion bad stories are being told, stories that teach us that life means nothing, that time means nothing, that humanity has no greater purpose. But how brightly a better story shines, how easily the world looks to it in wonder, and how blessed are we who hear these stories, and how happy it makes us to repeat them. That quote just was banging around in my head watching this movie, because you have all these characters, the Sentry and Yelena perhaps being the most prominent, who have so much to be ashamed of, and yet when they came together, right, they literally came together against the lie that, hey, your life isn't worth living, that you don't have any value, and that instead, by being willing to share your good, your bad, and everything in between with others that care about you and that you can trust, that's where freedom came from the Void. And I thought that was incredibly symbolic, but not in this heavy-handed, forced way. I thought it was such an organic part of that story. And so for me, this is a movie that I'll rewatch over and over again in the years to come. Like that was a banger for a number of reasons. But for me, that was the core of it that gave it the soul that separates it from from a lot of its Pack brothers, so to speak.
We can all be redeemed.
100%. So great messaging there. Anything else?
I think that covers it. We dug in deep.
We dwelled. We
got it done. I that's everything we could ever talk about with that movie. I think we covered it.
Totally agree.
The only thing we could do differently is go scene by scene and just re-go through the entire script.
Yeah, if you want that, send money, and we'll do it for you.
Patreon. No, we don't have one of those.
That's right. All right, let's delve into the news and notes of the last couple of weeks. Okay, The Batman 2. Speaking of movies that, boy, we'd love to see. It's not dead yet, okay, this week.
It's not going to die. Don't you even put that into existence.
I know.
It will be here.
Oh, I'm nervous.
It will come.
I'm nervous, and here's why, okay? Our guy, Matt Reeves, tremendous filmography, solid director, has, unfortunately, for his sake, had some personal issues, and that's all we know. That's all that's been shared, that have really hindered his ability to deliver the script for this movie. So with the obvious caveat of, hey, we hope Matt Reeves on a personal level is okay and will be okay, it makes me nervous from a production standpoint that the script isn't in. This movie's supposed to come out in 2027, which by that time will have been, 5 years since the first The Batman?
Been a hot minute.
Movie? Robert Pattinson was quoted. He had a great quote. Someone asked him, like, hey, so are you still in the movie? And he's like, man, I effing hope so. Like, I played a young Bruce Wayne, and I'm going to be an old Bruce Wayne by the time this next one comes out, which he's being humorous. We love Bob Pattinson in the role. We'd love to see him. We'd love to see him in it.
Put him in the DCU.
James Gunn took to the socials to reiterate that Matt Reeves is still the guy. The movie is still in production. Bob is still the Batman. But that's where I wanted to pivot to is, honestly, why not bring Robert Pattinson as the Batman in the DCU?
I'm good with it.
Truly, why not?
I loved him. I loved him as Bruce and Batman. It's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it. I hope he puts on some more muscle. In the I like my Batman being a little bit more jacked.
A little beefier.
Yeah. Yeah, like when you see him drop, you're like, oh, ooh, that's a presence. Mm-hmm. That's what I like from my Batman, okay?
Yep. Totally get that.
I would love it. To me, save yourself the time and effort. I think he fits just as well.
I do too.
It'll be okay.
And here's the reality. Batman, when he's partnered up with the Justice League, he's out of his league. He just is. He's a guy. He's a human. It's like you take Hawkeye in the Avengers and go, okay, you're one of the 2 or 3 folks that are in charge. It's equally ridiculous from a practical point of view. Like, it shouldn't work. It does, because Batman has exceptional tactical skill and ability. And of course, he's got all the gadgets and toys. But the fact that, like, we think that, oh, well, that version of the Batman couldn't be in the Justice League. Yes, he can. That's what Batman is. He's a dude. And he's not an enhanced person. He's a guy.
And I think Pattinson can handle that.
Yes.
Because I agree. I think you transfer him into, because obviously Gotham is going to always be like that, gritty, dark. Mm-hmm. You can still take that Batman, put him with a jollier Justice League, and it works. It just does. Yeah. So let him do it, because I think he would nail it. I don't think he'd have a problem being the I work alone guy on the team of 7.
Correct.
Like, I wouldn't question it. So that's what I hope. They won't do it, I don't think, because it sounds like they want an older Batman, which, why?
I don't.
But personally, just, the guy wants to play him. He did good. Mm-hmm. Like, keep it up. It's just a no-brainer to me. Make your layups, as you always say.
Yeah. If Christian Bale's Batman could have been a part of Justice League movies, which he could have, then this version of Batman, like, it fits. It fits. And part of what's so real about that is the Justice League is rarely, on their adventures, rarely are they hanging out in Gotham City.
No.
Okay? They're in the stratosphere. They're world hopping. It's not, all right, we're in Gotham helping out Batman. No, you're not. No, so you can leave this version of Gotham with the Penguin having just recently emerged, right? In the series on HBO. It's like none of that
Correct.
gets compromised by folding this version of those characters into officially the DCU. So there you go. Just do it. Okay, moving on. Iger, friend of the pod. We just need Bob to publicly admit it. That'd be great.
Bob, come on the show.
We would love to have you.
We'll love to chit chat with you.
Yeah,
you can pick our brains.
Absolutely. He clearly already is because he's been listening to the podcast, hence friend of the pod. So I'm gonna quote hop a little bit here on this article from the Hollywood Reporter. All right, this is our dear sweet Bob Iger. Bob says, "We all know that in our zeal, great word zeal, to flood our streaming platform with more content, that we turned to all of our creative engines, including Marvel, and had them produce a lot more." Okay, so this is Bob speaking into the last several years. "We've also learned over time that quantity does not necessarily beget quality. And frankly, we've all admitted to ourselves that we lost a little focus by making too much. And by consolidating a bit and having Marvel focus much more on their films, we believe that will result in better quality. And I think the first and best example is Thunderbolts." Bob's just preaching the JP and the Beans gospel here.
Bob knows how to make money.
Bob's
a very intelligent man.
We're
He knows
with
how to
you,
make money.
and you're clearly with us. Just officially bring us onto the team. That'd be great.
I would take that.
Right,
100%. I'll be your guy in the chair. I'll be your Nick Fury, baby. You just gotta ask.
Right. So to jump to earlier in the article, and why are we even bringing this up? So Bob also has a bit of a flex here. Okay, Bob is saying that the summer of 2025 and into 2026 a little bit as well, Bob has a lot of quote unquote confidence in the upcoming slate.
Oh, he's got some swagger, does he?
Bob is saying that this slate is, quote, as strong as any slate that I've seen since 2019.
What was in 2019, Jordan?
Thank you for asking. I would love to share that with you. So 2019, Avengers Endgame, The Lion King, Frozen, but it made over $1.5 billion. So
that's what we call a cash grab, folks.
And it worked. It worked.
It worked.
Frozen 2,
again, cash grab,
and it was a great movie.
I haven't seen it, so
you're missing out.
Well, I enjoyed the first one.
It's great.
I would love to see the second one.
Captain Marvel, Toy Story 4.
And Captain Marvel or the Marvels?
No, Captain Marvel. This is 2019.
Okay, now
because remember that came out the same year, but before Endgame, and Aladdin, which it still made $1 billion.
So financially, he's discussing, not like quality.
Of course, he's talking about. Well, he's trying to do both, right? He's trying to do both. And I think you and I can agree, all right, Captain Marvel wasn't great. Aladdin wasn't great. We also can't disagree with that, the cheddar. It worked. So,
and you got 1 billion of them.
Yep. And so again, 2025, he thinks strongest lineup since that time. He's also easing into 2026, where we'll have that next Avengers movie, the Mandalorian movie, another friggin' Toy Story movie, and live action.
Stop making Toy Story movies. What are we
Please
doing?
do. Yep, agreed.
The fact that we're getting another one.
So Bob's feeling good is the point. That's the takeaway here. Bob is feeling good.
We talked about cockroaches earlier. Can we talk about the fact that they've tried to end Toy Story twice now, and they're like, you know what would be really good? Let's do another one. How does it keep coming back from the grave?
I don't know.
That is ridiculous.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
That's a rant for another day.
I know. That story was told. It should have been done. That
story's been told 3 times now. This will be the number 3rd about well, we our kids grew up.
It's really silly.
They don't want us no more.
No, it's really silly. Okay, we're up against it for the time front, so we're going to move into, I think, top 5 times.
Hit it.
Okay.
Hit it, baby.
Let's do it.
Top 5.
It's time for your classic JP and the Beans top 5. It's time Sith of all time. So without further ado, Beans, you go first.
Okay, so I will say Grievous is not on this list because he's not technically a Sith, which bummer for him. because he's one of my favorite Star Wars villains. Look at him.
Great
Look
villain.
how dope he is.
Yes.
I wish I had him with 4 arms, though. Anyways, that's besides the point.
That's okay.
Look, my number 5, this is... Look, if you think about it, we don't have a lot of Sith
There's
Lords
actually not.
on screen that we've had because they have the rule of 2 in place. You can't have and more than that because they tend to kill each other.
Can I just say you deserve to lose when you have a stupid rule like that?
Yeah.
Like you deserve to be taking L's on a regular basis.
But
like,
when you kill each other,
kind of dumb.
when you kill each other, and we'll get into one of the best Sith because of that. But anywho, I had to do a deep pull for this one.
Yep.
I picked Darth Revan at 5. Now this is an old school Sith Lord. He looks like a badass. He has 2 sabers. One is purple, one is red, I believe. You can look him up. And maybe he doesn't rock a red one. I know one is purple.
Purple and red.
Okay, so yes, sick, right? So this guy started off as a Jedi and then turned to the Sith ways, created a giant army, and then got amnesia and was retrained as a Jedi and then took out the army that he built. Pretty badass.
That is quite the turn.
I have him
a
at
heel
5,
turn
and then a face turn. It was a heel turn and then a face turn because he went back to being a good guy. So, no, Revan's dope. I would love... There's some actually, if you do a deep dive into some of the past Sith Lords, there are some cool ones that I'm like, why are you not making movies about these guys? Because these guys are sick. Revan is one of them, and you could look up all the other ones, and you're like, oh, that guy's terrifying. What would he do?
That's great.
Right, so Revan is my number 5.
Great pull by you. That's fantastic. I'm just going to be upfront. I'm not going to have any pulls that are going to top that. That's outstanding. Okay, my number 5 is Asajj Ventress. So much of this is just the look, right? You talk about dual lightsabers. She also has dual lightsabers. A Night Sister on Dathomir, which is like, that's great. Like, I don't know what any of it means.
She's a witch. That's what you need to know.
Right.
For layman's terms, she's a witch.
She's a witch. But just like, that is just some badass terminology. Night Sister on Dathomir. An apprentice of Count Dooku, betrayed by Dooku. Unfortunate for her. But she's got the look. And one of the like very rare female Siths that we get. So I felt like that was worth a call out. So Asajj Ventress is my number 5. My number 4, just mention him, Count Dooku, aka Darth Tyrannus. Which, listen, if you could go by Count Dooku or by Darth Tyrannus, get rid of the Dooku. Go by Tyrannus.
Yeah, I don't know why that he didn't go by Darth Tyrannus.
Right. Like, just lean into that. That is so much more formidable.
It's fine when Yoda brings it up.
Sure.
Because, like, Yoda trained him, correct?
Right.
So that makes sense for him to be like...
Yoda's like, sure, you knew me as this person. Like, classic.
But he should be like, no, it's Darth Tyrannus now.
Correct.
So dope and so underutilized.
Yeah. Real shame. I like that with his saber, he has that little curvature at the bottom to give a little more rapid twist. A sneaky good lightsaber fighter. Like,
Dooku's sick.
You look at Christopher Lee and you're like, you're going to be slow and easy to kill. And quite the opposite. He's formidable. Anybody that can take down Anakin and Obi-Wan in the same bout, that's impressive.
That's true.
So that's my number 4, Darth Tyrannus.
My number 4 is also Darth Tyrannus.
Go!
That's my number 4
Yes.
for everything that you said.
Mm-hmm.
Look, he does not get done justice in the movies.
Sure.
I think, and that's the problem with the prequels, is they just don't pick, they don't stick with one Sith Lord.
Yeah.
They pick a couple different ones.
Yep.
And we'll go into, this plays off of another Sith
Of
Lord
course.
here soon.
Of
But he's so, like, he's got this swagger to him of he could be a politician if he wanted to.
Right.
He just handles himself very well in those situations.
Yep.
So I always thought he was like he's powerhouse, but very strong, more silent type. Like, I'm going to show you that I'm better than you.
Sure.
Less talking, more.
Yep.
I'm going to kill you. So I got Darth Tyrannus at 4. My number 3.
That's great.
My number 3 is Sidious. Sidious is 3.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Look, this man has his hands everywhere. Master manipulator. honestly, if you had him at 1, I wouldn't blame you.
Sure.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
He's ugly dude. All right. But I mean, if you think about everything that he was able to accomplish, not only in the prequels,
Right.
but also in the originals.
Right.
So the originals, the prequels, dare I say the sequels, because why was he not involved in that? Okay. So he managed to have his influence felt throughout every trilogy. That's impressive.
Yep.
You know, he killed his former master as well. They don't, he's the Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
So, no, when you think of Sith and you think of the reason why there's the rule of 2, it's because of Darth Plagueis that there's a rule of 2.
Yeah.
Not really, but he fits that personality type. And if you think about it, that's why you had multiple Sith Lords in the prequels,
right? Because
he was trying to find his successor,
mm-hmm.
and he's like, oh, Maul's not it. He got offed. Dooku, he thought might be it. But then he got his eyes on Anakin, and he's like, no, that's the guy right there. And just, prepped him for that role. Mm-hmm. Crazy. Mm-hmm. So, Sidious is my number 3.
I love that.
For all those reasons.
That's also my number 3. Dear Tweet, Emperor Palpatine, a.k.a. Darth Sidious. I asked myself and could not answer the question of would he be my number 1 if it were not for the sequels? Mostly because I'm just annoyed that he was in them. Well, he shouldn't have been in them.
To me, I don't even count the sequels as real. Yeah. I have blocked that part out of my life completely, and it's a better way to live.
Yeah, I get that.
So just think of prequels and originals.
I truly get that. What I appreciate, and you said as much, is that he is such a great force, both in the original, pun intended, in the original trilogy and in the prequels. Like his presence when he is finally, and it's actually kind of wild thinking back to the originals, how it takes time for Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious, to show up. He's not in those movies for quite a while. And then when he is, he wasn't microwaved. It's actually impactful. So he's a great number 3. My number 2, Darth Maul, a.k.a. Darth Maul. As far as I know, he doesn't have any other aliases, right? The Shadow?
He probably does.
At some point.
It's probably like Carl.
This is pure, right, Bob. This is pure...
Jerry, no.
Looks-based. The coolest looking Sith that there has ever been.
By a mile.
The red and black skin, the spikes coming out of the dome, not the dual lightsaber, but
It's a dual. Look, it's a dual.
I think a dual where you're holding one in each hand.
It's like a bow staff. It's like a dual bow staff. You still call it the dual saber, but it's
it's incredible.
It's one saber. It's not dual sabers. Yeah. It's a dual saber.
Yeah. Okay, that's what you did there. He looks phenomenal.
Does the S make that much of a difference?
Let's say that it does.
Okay,
let's just lean into it and say that it does. His fight scenes in episode 1 are just tremendous. It's weird that he's not allowed to say hardly anything in that movie. It was weird at the time. It didn't get less weird with the passage of time. It's just can he talk? Is he allowed to speak? But such a phenomenal looking villain. And that's my only reason for him to be at number 2, but there he is at number 2.
Okay. My number 2 is Darth Vader. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For all of the reasons that Vader is. Vader's one of the most iconic movie villains of all time. He's kind of badass. The voice, when you hear that voice, you're just like, oh crap, you're shitting your pants. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. So it's weird because I remember more of when Vader shows up in Rogue One. They do such a good job.
Right.
He's in 3 scenes. Mm-hmm. Vader's only in 3 scenes in that movie, but when he shows up, dear Lord, he takes over. You feel his presence. This is prime Vader. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you remember when he shuts the doors on those rebels? Yes. And he just starts slaughtering them all. Yep. You see the red just flash through. You're like, dear God. Mm-hmm. And it just also reminds you, people. Imagine what would have happened if Obi-Wan would have lost and his body wouldn't have got burned up. Mm-hmm. Dear God, Anakin would have been a nightmare.
Yep.
So
it's an unstoppable unit.
He's such a good villain. Mm-hmm. I got Vader at 2.
Yeah. That's great.
And
Number one.
And at number 1, I have Darth Maul, because I will never forget watching the first movie and seeing the saber come out and be like, oh, this is cool. And then the second one comes out and you're like, oh shit. Oh shit. What? It was unheard of. Your mind couldn't fathom it at that time. You're just like, this guy's awesome. And then you get into Clone Wars, and they actually flesh that man out, and they give him an excellent backstory of him trying to get back up to the top, but he just can't anymore.
Right.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And he should have been, in my opinion, he should have been the main Sith Lord up until episode 3.
Sure.
And then have Anakin kill him instead of Dooku, and just not throw Darth Tyrannus in there at all.
Right.
Personal preference and opinion.
No,
don't get me wrong, love Tyrannus. Maul's epic. That's the definition of bad guy when you look at him. You could have done so much more with his character, and chose not to, which is a bummer.
Right.
So I'm glad that he got the redemption, not as a, like, oh, he redeemed himself to be a good guy.
Right.
No, like, they redeemed the character as a whole, and like, this dude's awesome.
Yeah.
So I got Maul at number 1.
I love that. That's a great pull. My number 1 is Darth Vader.
As it should be.
Yep.
As it should be.
But I don't disagree with Darth Maul, and I love what they did for his character in the Clone Wars show. That such a great, hey, let's not actually have that character be a one-off. Let's utilize him. So great credit there. Darth Vader is just that, as you mentioned, he's one of the most iconic movie villains of all time. The breathing apparatus, the voice, the physical presence, and he's not just a powerful brute, right? He's exceptionally clever and devious. He obviously has outstanding abilities with the Force, great skills with the lightsaber. He's just what every great villain should be, which is exceptionally formidable and almost impossible, if not impossible, to take down. So
he's such a force. Like, you feel his strength with the Force. Here's the other fight that came to my head with him was Obi-Wan and him the second time around.
Right.
When it's just those two solo.
Yes.
Dear God, you feel his strength. And you're like, this guy is lost it.
Incredible. And all right, so in the movie Roadhouse, right? Patrick Swayze rips guys' throats out. That's great. Vader doesn't need to touch anybody to take him down. He can just do the throat choke from across the room. It's like, Swayze, I see your throat punch, and I raise you a throat choke from across the room. Like,
that was not the movie comp I was expecting at all. That threw me off.
No classic.
Out of nowhere, you're just like, it's like in Roadhouse. I'm like,
it's gonna tie in at all.
What? Okay, no, I'm with you.
That I still remember watching that scene eons ago now for the first time in episode 4, where Vader is lifting the dude up by the throat with the Force and just like, nobody does it. And he's doing it, you mentioned presence, he's doing it in a room full of people. So that's strength, right? Where he's not having to do it out of the sight of others. He knows, I can do what I want and get away with it. Yo. So there you go. Vader. Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
Beans, anything else for the good people?
No, I think that wraps it. I think it's a great list. I think we nailed it.
Way to go. Way to go. I'm glad that Ben Kenobi did not end up on either of our lists.
Ben? Oh.
Yeah. Yes. I said Ben Kenobi. I'm sorry. Ben Solo. Good grief.
I figured it out, but I'm like,
what a Freudian slip.
But I'm like,
there.
Ben Kenobi?
No, not Ben Kenobi. Ben Solo. Ben.
Oh, God, no. Kylo Ren. Look,
no.
Talk about missed opportunity. Kylo Ren, when he first comes on in episode 7, fantastic.
Yeah.
The Knights of Ren, when they're building them up, fantastic. And then they just drop the ball.
They just poop their pants.
Oh, it's like one of those fancy dancy eggs, and they just dropped it on the ground. And then they picked it back up again with the shards and just dropped it again. So, no. Anywho,
Super gross.
yeah.
We better wrap.
No, that's it. On that note, Godspeed.
Peace.